Hey guys, welcome back to another video. What we're going to be talking about today are some things that I wish I knew before I became a software engineer, right? Knowing these types of things would have made my life a lot easier when I was starting out. And there's a couple of things that I would just never thought of. And so I figured I'd share it with you. If I had known these things when I was just starting out, especially in like the first year, I would have been, pretty happy knowing these things, like, and not having to make certain mistakes myself. You know what I mean? So I hope I can share this knowledge with you guys and that you guys will find this helpful. So if you're new to the channel and you don't know who I am, my name is John. I'm a software engineer. And what we do here is I talk about software engineering at a high level so that you can become one as well. If you like the content, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. So right off the bat, one of the first things I wish that I knew before, deciding to become a software engineer and learn how to code, go to university, all that stuff, which I guess applies to a lot of things, right? Applies to life in general, is that you're going to fail a lot. There's going to be a lot of times where you don't know what to do and it's going to be hard and you're going to fail. Maybe this comes in the form of an assignment or an exam, or in real life when you're at work, you'll just fuck up and break something. Who knows? But at some point, you're going to fail. And if your attitude is that, you're scared of failing and you don't want to fail and you're not going to take risks, then you're not really going to reach your peak as a software engineer, right? You're not really going to reach the levels that you can because you're not going to be taking risks and trying new things. You're just going to be playing it safe. So what you got to do is embrace the failure, know that you're going to fail sometimes, and treat it as a learning opportunity and, go into it, move forward without being scared to try new things, to try certain, things, that you don't know 100%, but you want to learn it, right? So it's very important to understand that there's a lot of failure involved in being a software engineer. Another thing that you should know and expect is that it's going to take a long time to learn how to code, right? So if you're just starting out, there's so many things you have to learn. You have to even figure out what kind of language you want to work with, what kind of technology you want to work with, what type of development you want to do. So when you're starting to learn, you don't even know what language you're going to get really good at. And stuff like that, just thinking about it, it can be overwhelming, right? Like that, it's going to take a long time. But what you have to understand is, you go slowly, you use consistency, discipline, and just patience, and you will reach all the goals that you have, right? You can't be a perfectionist when it comes to code because it's never going to be perfect, right? When you're working on a project, you're going to try to be a perfectionist and make everything perfect exactly how you envisioned it. But what you're going to learn quickly is that you can't do this kind of stuff if you really want to be productive and efficient. So you're going to have to stop being a perfectionist and kind of, especially when you're learning and it's not like your real job. When you're learning, you want to kind of just get it working. And maybe it doesn't look as good, but just get it working and then you're good. You want to focus on just getting the code to work and then optimizing, making it better, obviously making it look nice, all that fun stuff. But when you're learning, you just want to focus on getting it to work, and even that takes a long time. So guys, don't get stressed if you've been learning a language for a couple of months and you're still not feeling it. You just have to find a strategy that works for you, and so that actually is an amazing segue, and it brings me into my next point, which is you have to find a strategy that works for you, right? Whether it's school, whether it's, learning by yourself, online, taking a boot camp, stuff like that. Even when it gets down to, whether you're a better learner when you're reading a tutorial, when you're reading slides, or actually coding and building. What I recommend is that everyone uses project-based learning to learn how to code. What you do is you kind of get a language, you watch a tutorial, maybe go through a course of some sort, just so you get a basic understanding, and then you pick a very simple project and you just build it. And then what you do from there is you kind of keep iterating and moving on to more complex projects, and this process will eventually land you in a place where you're building complex things that you can put on your resume and maybe potentially find a job, right? So one of the most important things you have to decide is how you learn, and really just commit to that, right? Like when I was in school going to lectures, we were learning how to code, right? And then it was just when it was just someone teaching me and we had to do a project, I really wasn't learning as much. But in the real world, I got a couple of internships, and then actually had to, build stuff using concepts I learned. That was when I learned how to code. So I quickly learned, I learned well on the job building projects, and I kind of use that as my learning strategy. So guys, whatever works for you, double down on it, and it'll make you so much more productive. Another thing that is probably the most important thing you could do when you're learning how to code is that you have to be consistent. And how do you stay consistent? How do you code every single day? You make a schedule and you make a plan. You go down to every day, you decide when you're going to be studying, you set a time block down to the day, so you stay consistent and you stay accountable. When you stay accountable for yourself, if you plan a schedule and set aside time to study, there's no reason why you can't succeed, right? You can even go like, okay, I want to build a simple project. I'm going to give myself the next 2 weeks. Give yourself deadlines, and then you'll be more likely to stick to them, right? A lot of these things seem simple, but like, I didn't even do this kind of stuff when I was learning. It was kind of done for me with deadlines and stuff like that. So I guess I really think that's a good way to do it, especially if you're just being self-taught and, and it's all reliant on you, right? On your discipline. That makes it a lot easier, and it makes your life a lot easier too if you have a schedule and a plan. I mentioned this before, but you kind of have to find which type of development you like, right? If it's web development, maybe you're back end, maybe you like the full stack, maybe you'd rather do something like data science or, develop iOS apps, Android apps. There's so many different things you could do. So, you really got to find what's right for you and what you like. And how do you do that? You learn different languages, you explore, you build different projects. But once you find that language that you really love and that you're very passionate about, that's when you double down and you really get good at it. And finally, what you have to understand is that when it comes to interviews, that is a completely different skill set than what you use when you're on the job. If you're a good coder, that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be good at interviews, right? Like in an interviews, you might be asked to, sort different, binary search trees, whatever, like all the stuff that in the real world, you're probably not really going to use that often. So when it comes to interview prep, it's really completely different, and use stuff like LeetCode and just practice these types of questions that get you get used to space-time complexity, different algorithms, data structures, so that you'll be good at the interviews. Because I'm not kidding, guys, it's a completely different skill being a good software engineer and being good at technical interviews. And you should really treat it that way. Just because you're studying coding doesn't mean you're necessarily studying interviews, right? So treat it as two different things that you have to account for. So guys, I hope this helped you out. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. If there's anything you disagree with or anything you think that I missed that would be a good addition to this list, feel free to comment below. If you like the content, feel free to like and subscribe. And as always, guys, take it easy.